Hi everybody, Dr. Cobb back with you. Hope you're again having a fantastic week. This week we're going to take a quick test to get everything started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to hit pause, answer the 3 questions, and then hit unpause, and then we'll keep going. All right, so here's your test. I want you to think about fat loss or weight loss. Now, normally when I talk about weight loss, I say fat loss because that's what most people want. But I want you to think about the 3 top things that you could do with regards to food or your diet to help you lose fat. All right? Hit pause, come back when you're ready. All right, now, here's my guess. My guess is if you hit pause and you actually wrote down your top 3 things that you can think of to change in your diet or food to lose fat, virtually everyone that's listening to this, I would guess 90+%, all 3 things that they listed had to do with food choice. All right? So most people, when they think about their diet or think about losing fat, losing weight, they're like, okay, I need to eat less. And when they say eat less, they're usually thinking eat less of something. So usually what I hear when I ask people this question is, well, I need to cut out sugar, I need to cut out gluten, or cut out fat, or whatever the flavor of the week is with regards to the media telling you what to eat, what not to eat. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is a while ago I did a blog, and in that blog I said, you know, there's a fantastic book out there called Switch. It's a fantastic book because it talks about how to make change when change is hard. And one of their basic rules is that there's almost always a better way to do what you're trying to achieve than what you're currently doing. Now, if you took that test and everything that you wrote down was related to what you're choosing to eat, that's probably a strategy that you've tried thousands of times, meal to meal. Or maybe it's something that you tried for a dedicated 12 months or whatever. But when we stop and look at the research around diets in the big wide world, the fact is that constantly getting people to focus on what they're eating doesn't seem to work. Because when you do these long-term studies and we look at people and go, okay, did they lose weight? Yeah, they lost weight, and then over the next year they gained it back, and then they gained it back. The most recent study I looked at was looking at short-term weight loss, or fast weight loss versus long-term weight loss, and they tracked them for 3 years. So the first group lost weight in 12 weeks, the second group lost weight over almost a year, and then they tracked them for 3 years, and at the end of the 3 years, both groups had gained back around 70 to 80% of the weight. And that's what we see, okay, across the board. So in terms of creating something sustainable, very often I think it's more important to look at behavior than what's on your plate, especially in the beginning. So I'm going to recommend to you once again, something that you've heard from me before, but I want you to take a journalistic approach to your diet, to your fat loss efforts, or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve with your body composition, because that's really what this is about. So remember, in basic journalism, you have the 5 W's and an H. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. If you want to take that, write that out. Who, what, when, where, why, and how, and then put a big circle with an X through it over the what. Because I would love for you to take a month out of your life and quit worrying so much about what you're eating and instead explore something out of one of the other categories. How do you eat? Do you eat slowly? Do you sit down with your family? Do you move away from a television? Do you eat and put your fork down between bites? Do you chew? Remember, I've done a blog on chewing. All of those different hows, incredibly important. When do you eat? Do you eat in the car? Do you eat very rushed at lunch? Whatever it is. So you can kind of go through who, what, when, where, why, and how. Who do you eat with? Where do you eat? When do you eat? Why do you eat? How do you eat? My hope for you in listening to this is that big reminder that, hey, maybe I've tried something multiple times, and that thing that I've tried is what do I eat? What do I eat? What do I eat? And if you've ever heard the classic definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over while expecting a different result. I think most of us in the body comp world see insanity all the time. We think, just one more try at eliminating this particular nutrient or this particular substance and I'll be fine. That rarely works. What works is looking at your environment, looking at your life, and figuring out how to approach this whole thing differently. So, your next steps. This month, take about 10 minutes. Don't make this into like a life study. Take about 10 minutes, write out who, what, when, where, why, and how, cross out what, and then come up with one thing in each category that you could change, and then pick one of those and try it for a month. Maybe it's, you know what, one meal a day, I'm going to sit down with my family and just see what happens to your body, see what happens to how you feel. Once you've done that, give me some feedback. This is one of the things that I'm really emphasizing in all of our training is that we want to look at our environment, we want to look at our behavior, and I'd love to know how this works for you, because I believe that the long-term solution that we all need has more to do with this than it does with demonizing any particular nutrient that we may be eating. So that's my thought for this week. I hope you have a fantastic week. If you have any questions about this, please let us know.